Cole Kmet, our guy going into year 6.
That's right.
Let me ask you a question. Is it important to be available? Does that matter in tomorrow's, yesterday's NFL?
Yes, it does.
How many games has Cole Kmet missed in his career?
None.
That would be 0. 16 games back in his rookie year and 17 games the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, let me ask you something. Did the Bears offense...
Let me ask you this to counter with your, is it important to be available for games?
Yeah.
Is it important to not drop the ball?
I think not dropping ball is good.
What is Cole Kmet's greatest strength?
Catch ball.
He catches ball. He does not drop ball.
Even in a year where people got up the old rear end of Cole Kmet on his drops, he had 47 catches on 55 targets last year.
Right.
Ball goes to Kmet. Kmet goes to ball.
He dropped a 2-point conversion, which I guess probably doesn't even go against the dropped metrics, in a game where they were losing by like 30.
How many?
All due respect. I mean, obviously he needs to catch the ball. He knows that. But like the way some use that as an example when this dude is hands wise, like if you want to be critical of certain things about his game, hands is the last thing you're going to be critical about Cole Kmet. He's one of the best at catching when the ball is thrown to him.
Let me ask you another question. Last year, how many Bears players talked about the need for more accountability, more doing things the right way in the Bears locker room?
Many.
Has Cole Kmet ever not done things the right way?
Never.
Literally never. Most on-point dude of all time.
Correct.
Give you a little bit of behind the scenes. Cole Kmet show. Or when he's coming on CHGO Bears, I'll do it that way. We start at noon. What time does Cole Kmet show up here?
At least a half hour early.
About 11:30. Literally no professional athlete does that. That is a 1 in a billion right there. And that's just because he's doing things the right way. Are you ever worried that Cole, if he can be on the field, will decide to not be on the field? No.
Well,
are you ever worried that he's going to show up to practice and not try to put his best foot forward? No. Are you worried that he's going to drop a football when it's thrown to him? No, you're not. Are you worried that he's going to be a good influence as he gets older in his career as a veteran on the younger Bears players as they continue to rework the roster? No.
And
Go
somebody
ahead.
And Joe Draper takes it right out of my mouth. It's a point I was going to make. Like, remember when people said we should move on or said, like, oh, it's okay, Darnell Mooney is expendable? How did he do last year when he was used properly?
I think it was 992 receiving yards.
Right, that's the point. It's like when you have talented players that you actually developed, which is a problem at times here in this city, you don't get rid of the guys that have developed into solid players, and then you hire people that will put them in the right position to succeed. You don't get rid of them because you had people in that didn't know how to utilize them properly. And I think Darnell Mooney is a perfect example of that. You let Cole Kmet go. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go anywhere else. So I just think it's ridiculous. Now, if you want to say, well, it's not about that. I think like, oh, he's a solid player, but this is about the cap hit and how much you can save, going back to our segment in A block, like how much you can save in cap savings. And Steven, like, I thought you brought up a good point because people keep saying, well, you save $10 million if you cut him. That's not necessarily true, as you were pointing out, right, Steven?
Yeah, so we look at it here. His dead cap hit is $4.8 million, and his cap hit is $11.6. So it's a difference of $6.8 million. So effectively what the decision is do you want to keep Cole Kmet for $6.8 million, or do you want to cut him and pay $4.8 million for him to go elsewhere?
And not only that, if you're saving $6.8 million, but then how much are you paying to replace him? So you're either going to draft. It's a deep tight end class. You want to draft a tight end? I have no issue with that. Go for it. Cut Gerald Everett and draft another tight end. But if you cut Cole Kmet all for cap savings, $6.8 million, well, guess what? You have to sign a tight end to replace him. Yeah, how much is he going to cost?
We just
Austin Hooper, $3-4 million. Now what? This is a $2 million difference for a tight end that can arguably be a top 10 tight end in the league. And now you are what? You're paying him right now as the 12th best the 12th highest paid tight end in the league.
Yeah, you look at a guy like, what are you going to get a Dalton Schultz? He's making $14 million in 2025. No one come to me and say that you'd rather have Dalton Schultz over Cole Kmet. I won't hear that discussion.
Correct.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, like, I think anybody bringing up him as an option, that's why we didn't have him on the list in A block. It's silliness. Like, this is a guy, to me, that is going to be a staple in Ben Johnson's offense. And finally, we have a play caller that's going to – you want to talk about what Sam Laporta did for the Detroit Lions and how open he was and how open everyone is on that offense? Well, go look at the kind of schemes they run. Look at the route concepts. Look at the way Ben Johnson is calling his offense. He is going to put his tight ends in the best position to make plays. And, oh, by the way, tight end, also, you have to block. And guess what this team's going to be with Ben Johnson? A running team. They are going to run the football. So you need a tight end that can do both. And tight end and Cole Kmet certainly can do both. And if you want to draft somebody to come in and add to that room, I'm all for it.
Well, just a reminder, is DJ Moore a good player? Do we think that DJ Moore can play?
Yes.
Okay. How many less yards did DJ Moore have last year than the prior season?
Like 500.
400 yards less. All right. Caught the same amount of balls, actually caught 2 more balls on a zillion more targets. Well, not a zillion more, I'm sorry. But he had 98 catches on 140 targets. All right. So he was down 400 yards. How many yards was Cole Kmet down last year? 474 minus 719. You know what that is, Braggs? It's 250. So I'm just pointing out that proportionally, as the offense never found its rhythm last year, 68 sacks, offensive line scuffling, multiple offensive coordinators, all of it, rookie quarterback, running back room never got on track. I mean, the playmakers from 2023 never really emerged. So which is why, again, that Ben Johnson is here for $13 million a year. So if you believe that DJ is going to have a good year this year, I think you can say that the same principle can apply to Kmet. And I'm not saying he's going to be Sam Laporta making diving catches in the end zone, but I'm not saying he can't.
But that's the thing. He absolutely can. That was a great catch by Sam Laporta in the red zone. You know who's a great red zone tight end? Cole Kmet, who has great hands.
Let's go back to New Orleans when a young 17 was scrambling left, stopped, pivoted, fired back to the right corner of the end zone, and there was 85 with a phenomenal contested catch into a nice home run swing. I'll be majorly bummed if they decide to get rid of a dude who was drafted here, born here, doing the right things here because he somehow doesn't fit the offense. That's not supposed to be the point. The point is that you take the players around you and you make them better, and they absolutely can get Kmet back to where he was in 2023, if not higher.
We all silly like the mayor.